On this episode, and welcome back to another episode of the Buckwasberry Lemonade podcast. And I'm your host, Lisa, and my handsome co-host is my sweet husband, Timothy.
Well, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. We've got an interesting show for tonight.
Yes, we do.
It is the Wanted Files, Fugitives, and Forgotten Cases.
Yes,
I think it'll be good.
I think it will too, considering a couple of the ones we have.
Yeah. So, without further ado, go to North Carolina to start with Allegheny County, North Carolina, with Mr. Brandon Lee Wagner. On May 30th, 2023, the body of 33-year-old Brandon Lee Wagner was found alongside the Blue Ridge Parkway near a milepost 221 in Allegheny County, North Carolina.
Oh, wow, he was in the mountains.
Law enforcement rangers from the National Park Service determined that Brandon was hit by a vehicle and killed. Investigators are looking for the witnesses who traveled along the Blue Ridge Parkway on the evening of May 29th, 2023, or in the early morning hours of May 30th, 2023.
The problem here is I can't remember what I had to eat yesterday.
Yeah.
How am I going to remember?
Well, I think what they're hoping for is with the amount of traffic going through there for that particular time of year, that maybe somebody saw something, even if they thought they saw something. You know, sometimes you can be like, I didn't see that. And you change your mind about it.
I get it.
But that's the sad part about it. I mean, this fella has passed, and young guy looks like a
he was 33.
Yeah, and hit and run victim in Allegheny County, North Carolina.
And don't butcher it too bad.
Yeah, that's Mr. Brandon Lee Wagner. If you have any information about this case,
please contact proper authorities.
And this comes from the FBI.gov wanted section of the website. So the FBI, one on the actual FBI website.
Okay, with that number would be FBI Charlotte field office. Number is 704-672-6100. Or you can go to the National Park Service tip line at 1-888-653-0009.
And again, that's for anybody who may have any information about this case.
Yes, and so now we will go to the next. Now we have Miss Jenna Franks. She's a homicide victim from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and February 24th, 2021 was her last day here on Earth. What's interesting is the 34-year-old woman, she was found murdered, but she is a transgender woman. Her alias is Jeremy William Franks. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the identification, arrest, and conviction of the individual or individuals responsible for the murder of Jenna Franks. This would be considered what, a hate crime?
Yeah, they're leaning strongly toward this. She could have been a victim of a hate crime.
Got you. And on February 24, 2021, her body was found near Ellis Boulevard and White Street in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Franks, she's a transgender woman. Cause of her death was determined to be a homicide. The case is also being investigated as a possible hate crime. Well, I need to make a correction. Just found out that the reward has been increased to up to $25,000 for the information that leads to an arrest. She was found by a City of Jacksonville Streets Division work crew that was in the process of clearing debris from a draining ditch in that area.
Yeah. And it looks like in 2021, that's when the FBI decided to join in the investigation.
Yeah, it said her autopsy. It was found she was found with multiple sharp force injuries and stab wounds to the left neck and bilateral lower extremities.
And according to the autopsy, it looks like it's been a prolonged time in the water. Looks like.
I think that's what they're saying.
And they speculate by the FBI that it's likely whoever murdered Jenna is familiar with the area where her body was found and may continue to live or work in that community. So.
Yeah, but they say they're not ruling out the killer moved away.
Yeah, because, it's Jacksonville. Military town.
Military town. So, yes, that's a very big possibility.
And then you want to go over the contact information, or you want me to do it?
You can do that.
Anyone who may have information that would assist in the investigation may contact Detective Scott Eichelberger at 910-938-6440. Again, that's Scott Eichelberger. And forgive me, Scott, I'm pretty sure that I've not pronounced that correctly, but they can feel free to give you a call at 910-938-6440. Or you can also call the Charlotte branch of the FBI at 704-672-6100. Again, that's the FBI branch in Charlotte at 704-672-6100.
Or they can call Crime Stoppers in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Police Department, their tip line. And that tip line is 910-938-3273.
All right. So next up, we have Alejandro Rosales Castillo.
Wow, this is the one. This is a really insane person.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of them are, but some of them are just a little bit more so than others.
So, the FBI is currently offering a $250,000 reward for information that will lead to the arrest of Alejandro Rosales Castillo. So, let's talk about Alejandro here.
Let's go to the background.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So, Alejandro was born November 26, 1998. He's an American fugitive. He was added to the FBI 10 most wanted fugitives list October 24th, 2017. He's wanted for the murder, the August 2016 murder of Trunk Quan Sandy Lai Lee in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is believed that Castillo was the 516th fugitive to be placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And again, like I said, they're currently offering a $250,000 reward leading up to his capture. We do know that he was born, like we said, in Arizona, but he does speak fluent English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that when he was 17 in 2016, he was working for Shomar's restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so were his co-workers, 23-year-old Truck Quan Sandy Lai Lee. And they briefly dated for a little bit. And at some point, it looks like Sandy had lent Alejandro some money, and he never paid her back.
That's a big bad. And
another co-worker of theirs, 19-year-old Hamia Fester, who evidently became Alejandro's new girlfriend after he split with Sandy. So
Oh,
then we move up to August 9th, 2016. Alejandro texted Sandy saying he would like to repay the money that she had previously loaned him. And they agreed to meet at a Quick Trip, which is at that point located on Eastway Drive in Charlotte. He picked her up that afternoon,
he picked her up. Yeah.
Castillo was picked up that afternoon by Fester, she picked him up in her red Dodge Caliber and took him to the meeting. Sandy,
that sounds kind of suspicious.
yeah, it's kind of shady. Sandy was last seen alive at the Quick Trip where she agreed to meet Alejandro. It is believed that instead of repaying her, he forced her to withdraw all the money from her bank account, possibly with a gun.
Oh my goodness.
According to Sandy's uncle, her bank statements show that she withdrew about $1,000 from an ATM. After this withdrawal, there was no money left in her bank account, and investigators believe at that point that Alejandro then drove Sandy to a wooded area in Carrabas County, and at that point ended her life. It's possible that they believe she was disposed of in a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alejandro and his girlfriend fled in Sandy's black four-door Toyota Corolla.
Oh, wow. Yeah. They drove from North Carolina to Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah. That's quite a trip, isn't it?
That is quite a trip.
So later, Sandy's car was found abandoned in Phoenix at a bus shelter. And anyway, the two then made their getaway and they went to Arizona. They crossed the border into Mexico, and there is surveillance footage capturing their images crossing the border into Mexico. Alejandro has not been seen since. They do believe he's still hiding in Mexico. But then again, they're not 100% sure. Sandy was reported missing the day she met her demise. Castillo and Fester were reported missing August 11th and 12th. And that's just, wow.
And here it says I don't know how to pronounce these. He may also be hiding in the states of Guadalajara. Is that how you say it?
Good luck trying to pronounce. I can't pronounce them. Sorry.
Okay. And there's a VRACURZ state.
Yeah. And we do know on October 20th, 2016, his girlfriend, Mrs. Fester, turned herself in while in Mexico. She did get in touch with her mom, who cooperated with the U.S. authorities and arranged for her to be collected at the airport. And she was.
Mm-hmm.
She was then brought back to the United States and arrested by the Harris County Sheriff's Department near Houston, Texas. She was charged with being an accessory after the fact of felony murder and larceny of a motor vehicle. Her bond was set at $25,000 for the motor vehicle and $100,000 for the accessory after the fact. She was then transferred to Mecklenburg County Jail, where she was posted bond and was released. According to her, both her and Alejandro had been staying at his cousin's place in Mexico. And at some point during those 2 months, he went missing again.
Oh, wow.
So he pretty much left her and fled at that point.
Oh, yeah.
So she was 19 at the time, but Amelia Fester, his girlfriend, he eventually just...
Well, did she get prison time?
I think she's still waiting a few things, but
if y'all would like more information on this Castillo's fugitive, he was on an episode of America's Most Wanted, and it aired on my birthday, February 26, 2024.
That's right. And again, folks, there is a $250,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest of Alejandro Rosales Castillo. And I'll tell you, looks like he might just be
Somebody might
business.
have done something to him.
Yeah, he could be. He's considered armed and extremely dangerous.
So don't be messing with him.
Wow, that's
It's-
crazy.
yeah, that is very, very crazy.
And if you have any information regarding this person, please contact the FBI's toll-free tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or 1-800-225-5324. You can also contact your local branch of the FBI if you would rather do so.
Please, if you know something, say something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, that leads us up into a break. We will be right back in
2 minutes and 2 seconds. And welcome back.
all right.
Let's get right on in and dive into the U.S. Marshal Service. And we got up for grabs. First off the bat, is sack of shit.
John Kenneth Capps.
Yeah. He
And
sure is.
We knew some sack of shit awards were coming.
Yeah, no, we're going to do an episode, nothing but sack of shits, and we're going to see who y'all vote to get.
And Mr. Capps, you are indeed, sir.
Yes, a sack of shit. He's wanted for violations of supervised release and failure to register as a sex offender.
Mm-hmm.
And his alias is just John K. Capps. He's been wanted in the U.S. Marshal Service since 2015.
Yeah.
His date of birth is October 15th, 1972. And of course, he is male. He has green eyes. His weight at the time was 215. His skin was fair. And he's wanted in North Carolina, but he was born in Oklahoma.
Go back to Oklahoma, I bet.
He probably did.
Yeah.
And he's his race Hispanic or Latino white.
I'm looking at his picture, guys.
He looks white.
He looks white.
Yeah, I mean,
he
does.
He might have had. I hope when he gets to prison, he has some Hispanic in him.
And we don't mean DNA.
Well, again, maybe so.
And his hair, he for a
sack of shit.
For a sack of shit, he for Hispanic or Latino, his hair is blonde or strawberry.
That's got to be a typo. It's got to be.
That's got to be. I mean, that's what it said. But look at his picture.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
Looks like a
strawberry blonde.
Depressed.
Looks like a sack
of shit.
And he's got a scar on his shoulder, on his left shoulder.
5'10".
Oh, yeah, he's 5'10". He's a tall one, but not as tall as my husband.
Okay.
And he was convicted of an offense requiring him to register as a sex offender.
Yep.
And a warrant was issued for violations of his supervised release in December 2015. Capps was believed to have staged an incident to appear that he had drowned on a sailboat in Florida. It's not been seen since.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, when you look him up on the registry, one of the things he's charged with is out-of-state possession of child, and I won't say it.
Okay. Property.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay.
And I don't want to mess up that algorithm, but
no,
he did indeed try to fake his death. I mean,
wow.
How many movies did he watch to come up with that idea?
I know. Well,
I'm going to fake my death.
I've seen a couple of them. I mean, where somebody tries to make it look like See, there's better picture there of them there.
Yeah. Either way you go. Folks, if you have any information regarding John Kenneth Capps,
Make sure you call. Let me get the number from the U.S. Marshals.
here you go, honey. I got it right here for you.
Oh, okay. It is. Contact the U.S. Marshals at 336-554-8580 with any information.
Exactly. I mean,
He deserves to come home.
so you reckon when he tried to sink a sailboat off the coast of Florida,
he might have drowned himself.
looking what? Well, that's what he was pretending. You know, he wanted to be like he died now.
He might not have.
But look at him. Look at him though. Horatio Kane.
Hey. Leave Horatio alone.
Looks like Horatio Kane.
Leave Horatio alone.
And with that, we'll move on to another one.
And make sure you put that.
Next up,
we have Mr. Troy Wiley.
And
he's not a Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, he and folks, if you're looking this up, you can look this up on the U.S. Marshals.gov, and this is actually the fugitive list for parts of North Carolina. Troy Wiley gets our second sack of sugar.
He might be above the other one.
Yeah, he may be more of a sack of shit.
He might be number one right now.
So Wiley's date of birth is May 3rd, 1990. He's wanted in Roxboro, North Carolina. He is male with a race and ethnicity of African American. Weight at the time was 148 pounds. He's got a height of about 5'7". Please call Investigator Gill, the Roxboro Police Department, with any information.
Well, let them know what he did.
I'm going to let you share that one.
No, you can share it.
But that phone number is 336-504-9274. And he is wanted for the SA of a child under 15, first-degree kidnapping, assault by strangulation.
Oh, he is a sack of shit.
Again, Mr. Wiley, it is our hope that you are indeed apprehended.
And given your just desserts.
And we hope you are given your just desserts.
Yes.
And I hope it hurts.
Real good.
And again, folks, that is Troy Wiley, wanted in Roxboro, North Carolina. And again, if you have any information, please contact the proper authorities at 336-504-9274.
And for our next one is Mr. Rondi Cashier Loud. He is wanted for violation of supervised release and robbery of a U.S. Postal Service employee. He's got aliases, and his aliases are Josh Lyles, Rondi Cashier Lyles, spelled with one S instead of two. And he has been wanted since 2008. He was born May 25th, 1982. And of course, he's a male. His eyes are brown. And at the time, his weight was 150 pounds. And he is wanted in North Carolina also. He was born in South Carolina. And he is an African American with black hair. He's 5'9". He's got on scars and tattoos. It says brace, T, scar wrist, right, tattoo arm, right.
That's about all it gave you. Didn't tell you
what it was or anything. No.
So Rondi Lyles was convicted of a robbery of United States Postal Service employee. And that violates a code of 18 U.S.C. 2114A. And in 2002, he was sentenced to 55 months in prison. After his release from prison, he began a term of supervised release. A warrant has been issued for violation of supervised release in February 2008. Lyles has not been seen since.
Mm.
And looks like they've conducted a lot of interviews with his family in South Carolina, but nothing else has developed.
Well,
I think Rondi has
Rondied out.
he has rendezvoused on down the road.
He's on down.
He's on down the road. I don't think y'all gonna be catching Rondi.
Rhonda said, nope, he was ready to go.
Yeah.
He flew the coop.
He's got to ride like the wind
Got to ride like the
to be free again.
wind. That's the only way.
He's got such a long way to go.
But you can contact the U.S. Marshals Service at 336-554-8550 with any information if you have any. If you know something, say something.
Absolutely, guys. This has been a short podcast. And we know we've not been very politically correct with a lot of things, but the spirit of it all, we want these cases solved. There's some families that have been affected by these things one way or the other.
And they need closure.
And justice needs to be served.
It does.
And with that,
we hope you had a Bucklesberry lemonade kind of day.
And please, if you haven't already,
like, follow, and subscribe to
Bucklesberry Lemonade,
the podcast.
And we'd like for you to share that with your friends as well. Until next time, guys.
Also, go to the TikTok page if you're not a big YouTuber. Go to TikTok.
Bucklesberry Lemonade, TikTok.
We have that too.
Rumble,
Spotify, iHeart, Apple.
Yeah, and a few others as well. And by all means, blow us up on our Facebook page.
And let us know which one of these you think would be the number one.
Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. On today's episode,
there are so many questions and so few answers. Not a day goes by where the investigators, survivors, and the victims' families aren't reminded of these brutal murders. 20 years later, they're still seeking justice and closure.
What's wrong? We've been shot.
June 6, 1993.
5 more have been either shot or stabbed.
After having all the victims bound in duct tape and tied up in dog chains,
the investigators hope to find this killer.
It's a day that changed the small town of Windsor forever.
On June 6, 1993, a man appeared inside of a Below grocery store in Windsor, North Carolina. It was after closing hours. He was brandishing a handgun. The man ordered the store manager and a cashier to empty the day's earnings into a plastic bag in what appeared to be a robbery. After taking the money, the armed suspect then ordered the 2 employees plus the 4-person floor cleaning crew to the back of the store. After being tied up, the suspect then stacked the employees in 3 piles of 2 people apiece. Then he opened fire. After murdering 3 and severely wounding 2 others, the killer calmly walked out into the quiet night, never to be seen again. Some 29 years later, the killer's identity remains unknown, and investigators continue to work the case. On May 30th, 1993, 1 week prior to the Below murderers, Audrey Leggett, then 66, was gunned down as she was working the counter at Cherry's Cupboard. She was on the phone with her daughter Judy, just swapping recipes. Judy was told to hold on just for a minute, in which time she heard a click, and that was it. That was the last thing that anyone ever heard from Miss Audrey. They drug her all the way in the back, going to the cooler, and there they took her life. She was shot several times for a couple of $100. Customers would eventually find her. Now, this may or may not be related to the Below suspect, but could there be a connection? A year after the Below store murders in Windsor, North Carolina, another Below store was robbed. This store was located in Hertford, North Carolina. The gunman hid in the store until closing. Then he tied up the assistant store manager. The assailant used duct tape and dog leashes, the same items used to tie up the victims in the Windsor store robbery. He fled with an undisclosed amount of cash, and no one was injured. I tell you, this one hits really close to home, doesn't it?
It really, really, really does. But a week before in Martin County, Beargrass, a week before the Below murders, Audrey Leggett. What about her?
Yeah.
That's so close. That is so close.
Yeah.
They say there's no concrete connection, but I believe there is a connection.
Well, I think anything's possible. I mean, it's such a small town. Well, between Windsor and Beargrass, it's roughly 20, 21 miles, but it's like they're all interconnected, and the whole vibe around Windsor and Beargrass and Martin County, it's all very laid back. I mean, they're just country folks. They're not used to having these kind of things happen.
No, not at all.
Prior to Below, on May 30th, 1993, Miss Audrey Leggett, I think she was around 66.
She was gunned down as she was working at the counter at Cherry's Cupboard. She was on the phone with her daughter, Judy. I think her daughter said that they were swapping recipes, talking about she was getting a recipe for something.
Mm-hmm.
And her mama told her, hold on, and it went click, and that's the last time she talked to her mama. And then they found out she was dead. I think they drug her to the cooler.
Yeah, she had been. They took her life by shooting her, and she'd been drugged back to the cooler.
Yeah, she was shot several times for a couple $100 that was missing from the register.
And then customers would find her.
Yep.
Yeah.
This may not be related at all to the Below murders.
She definitely
but yes,
because her family, they've suffered through this loss, and Miss Audrey, her family needs some justice as well. So that's just,
imagine being her daughter and basically hearing that, and that's the last thing. I mean, she was there basically.
Yeah, it's one of those things, that she was found by customers, and it is interesting to know that Mrs. Leggett was killed with a .22 caliber handgun, while the Below murders were with a .45, I believe is correct.
Yeah.
So that's that's one of those things that is it's all so close together. It kind of does make you wonder.
It makes you really, really wonder. I mean,
but it's the look of and the thing of it too. If anybody has any information about this, please contact the North Carolina SBI and let them know that you know anything.
Please
do. And
yes, please put them. Let the family try to stop their suffering a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll get that number for you. We'll have it up at the end of the podcast. So we go forward in time one week. Okay. And it looks like that would be a Sunday, June 6, 1993, at approximately 6:15 p.m. A male who they believe was already inside the Below store hiding in Windsor, bound up 6 victims using gray duct tape. Um, he also used dog chains, dog collars. He stacked the victims in 3 piles. Then he shot
Mm-mm-mm.
into the piles. He killed 3 of the victims. The 4th victim was shot. The 5th victim was stabbed. Both were
What?
left for dead. And the 6th victim, and at least this is in note 6, just so you for your reference. It looks like the 6th victim was not hurt, and he got away with what looks like to be about $3,000.
Mm-mm-mm.
He demanded that the clerk and the manager put the money in a bag, um, and he had the money. He did keep saying that he was not intending on shooting them. He stated multiple times that he was a former police officer who had been done wrong,
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
and that he opened fire. He only had 1 round of ammunition, and then what he couldn't finish with the
he
bullets.
grabbed a knife.
Yeah,
He grabbed a knife.
and finished with a knife.
Yeah, he was evil.
Very much so. So his description is a black male, medium complexion.
30 to 35 years old with a solid, slender build and military-style haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And they said he had slender, oh no, I'm sorry, he had light brown slanted eyes with a narrow nose bridge. That was possibly caused from a sports injury.
Well, the the other thing too, and I'm on note 4 now, is in researching this, the amount of people that were inside the store at closing time. 6 people is a lot of people.
I know. So he must knew he could.
But that's the thing. You would think if he had cased the place out, there's 6 people there. Is that the best time to try and rob somebody? I mean, what I'm getting at is if we go back down to the FBI profile on the guy, okay? Because see, there's 2 definite schools of thought here. One is that he was military trained or an ex-policeman, like he said, because he was so cool and calm while he was executing this, according to the survivors. If he was military trained, maybe it didn't matter to him.
It didn't. That's what I'm thinking. He was military trained, and he knew, or he thought in his mind that he could handle who was in there. Maybe he looked at the victims and said they're not going to be that much of a. They're not going to be that much resistance to him.
Yeah, could be. Go over from the notes from the FBI profile what they have profiled him to be. If you would go over that right quick.
What note did you say you're on?
That would be probably in your talking points from the
Okay, so sorry. Okay.
notes from the FBI profile.
Okay, profile. He's likely an ex-con who was convicted of a serious felony. Despite this, the suspect was likely a model prisoner, possibly affiliated with a religious group while incarcerated. Below murders were likely not his first. Very persuasive, possessing a silver tongue. And he displays composure, representing himself with a friendly demeanor. And he possesses a serious threat to family. Poses a serious threat to family and friends. Has ties in some form to the area. African American, dark complexion, mid-30s, very muscular, at least 6 feet tall.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, and the next thing that we'll go to would be note number 10.
Okay.
We'll go over that next, but let's talk for just a minute. The two schools of thought here. You've got one. They just think the guy was a drug addict. That he just by happen chance came upon this grocery store, robbed it, um, and didn't really know what he was doing because there was a lot of sloppiness involved. Okay, then there's a and and they due to that sloppiness, that's why they say a drug addict. Due to the
Oh,
fact
okay.
that he probably only had one uh, round of ammunition, and they theorized that because he started using a knife after he had fired so many bullets. And then
Or
the
he
other,
might have wanted to challenge himself if he's,
who knows?
yeah.
And then the other school of thought is that he was military trained or uh, had been trained by the police academy because he did say he was a former police officer,
Yeah.
but none of them recognized him. So
Yep. And he's got, they think, I mean, I remember them saying he has to have family here. He has to have family here somewhere.
well, you figure at that point, um,
You know, somebody has got to know.
back then you could go from Virginia through Windsor and Martin County, Bertie, Martin County, like that, to
Yeah.
Virginia, which would have been military. You would have had military here. So there's that possibility. But going back to a couple of points, I know that this was a sloppy crime scene. I get all that. Okay, but when you really think about it, if this guy was trying to travel light and only had one round of ammunition, you know, had he cased this out, did he just happen chance buy it and decide he was going to go for it? We
I
don't
don't
know.
think I think he got 3,000 out of it. Now that, like I said, money, I mean, 3,000 is not, but he
And,
got money out of it,
and see,
and that was a bonus.
a lot of people think, in researching this, they were saying $3,000 is not a lot of money.
Mm.
1993 in a small southern town, $3,000 was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money back then. I remember that. Remember, I was struggling. So, yeah, it was.
And
I would have loved it, but
but
I would have never done anything like that anyway.
well, none of us would. I mean, but do you think, in doing your research, military, police trained, or drug addict?
All three. I think he was military trained, and I think he is a drug addict. I think he's not in the military or in the police business anymore because of his drug addiction, but I think he was trained that way. We've got a lot of them now
Yeah.
that are like that, they're trying to either help or they have kicked out.
Well,
And when you kick them out, where does that leave them?
yeah.
They got this knowledge, they can't find this job because of their issues they've got from being in the military. I mean, you go overseas, you see stuff, you can't blame, then you can't blame them. But then you don't treat them when they come back. You just let them go. And when you let them go, they develop all these issues and nobody helps them. So what do? They do the only thing they do know how to do.
Well, I mean, it's possible. It could be exactly that way. I think, um, and I know they want to rule out some things because of the sloppiness, but I think he was military trained. I think he was moving light on his feet. Um, I think in the profile they said likely an ex-con who was convicted of a serious
Mm-hmm.
felony. I believe that. I believe that he did not want to go to back to prison. And you think about it. If he was in the military, he's regimented. So A would have been B, would have been C. He'd have been
Would have
regimented.
been D. Yep. Mm-hmm.
committed in prison as well. It's probably one of those things for him to be that calm in that situation, as calm as that we said, that tells you he has been involved in conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you come up on that conflict? You only come up on it in the military, or if you're in the
Some kind of police field,
that's right.
military, police, something like that.
But if you go back to your talking point on note 10, if you'll notice, one of the survivors, Jasper Hardy Jr. Okay,
Uh-huh.
he was watching all this unfold. You know, people above him, people below him, because he's stacked, and he gets asked by the attacker, "Will you identify me?" And he says, "No, man, I don't know you." And then the killer says, "Okay, big man, I'm gonna let you live." Now, moments earlier, he's just watched his brother Thomas, who gave
Oh,
the answers, and he killed him. So the fear of being caught was there because he kept saying, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to do anything. But he kept going. I don't want to hurt you, but he kept executing. He kept killing.
mm-hmm.
And I believe that ties in with being formally convicted of a serious felony.
I think so too.
And, you know, but I just tell you, when you really think about that, there was the possibility, and we're in note 11 now, the possibility that a small white car with Maryland plates was seen speeding off. He could have went in any direction at that point. You know, so I don't know. Could have went in any direction at that point.
I know, but they haven't. If he was in jail, in prison, wouldn't they have his DNA, his fingerprints? Didn't they say they got DNA from?
They did say they got DNA, and that's the other weird thing too, is because you would think DNA would be all over everything. But
Yeah, they said they got it, and then they said they got it from the other one the week before,
why hadn't anything matched up?
and nothing's matched up.
And you know, it's interesting to note too. Like I was going over back to note 12. If you'll note too, I was telling you about this part too. Belo actually had surveillance cameras.
But they weren't working.
No, they were non-functional at the time. This part of me, you know, I wonder if any of the families ever thought, you know, maybe we need to contact a lawyer, because if you'd have had surveillance up, it wouldn't have prevented this from happening.
But they would know who they were looking for.
But they would have had, you know, some better outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been my thought, because I'd have been doing everything I could.
Well, let's talk about the victims really quick. Killed were cashier Joyce Coburn Reason. She was 36. She lived in Windsor. The manager, Grover Lee Cecil Jr., was 47, and he was from Aden. The cleaning crew member, Johnny Rankins Jr., 48, of Edenton. Mrs. Reason and Mr. Cecil were shot once in the head, while Rankins was shot in the back. And then the cleaning crew members, Thomas E. Hardy, 48, of Edenton, Sylvester Welch Jr., 40, of Hertford. They were hospitalized in critical condition. What's amazing to me, too, now you think about this. We got 6 people in here. You got Grover, who's the manager, Grover Lee Cecil, that's a man. Johnny Rankins,
Yeah.
man, that's 2 men. Thomas Hardy, Sylvester Welch, that's 4 men. And this guy just nonchalantly walks in and says, "Hey, you're going to do what I tell you to do, and you're going to do it right now," with no hesitation.
Well, they said that the FBI profile that he might possess silver tongue. You know, some people do. You know, I won't hurt you. Like, they possess something. They can about talk you into things.
Well, too, when you're in the military, you especially when you rise up in the ranks, okay? You
Hmm.
you are taught when you're given authority over another, um, you expect it to happen. When I tell you something, I just expect you to do it. It's so matter of fact. I expect you to, and I believe this is how he was talking to them. So matter of fact, so bold and brazen.
That they surprised them. I
Yeah,
mean, they. And
completely.
how old were these people? 48, 40. Well, they could have, depending on how old he was, they could have probably taken him on, but it depend. He had a gun, so we don't never know in a situation what we would do. We want to live to see our family. We
Yeah.
do what you say. We won't get hurt. That's exactly right. I mean, we don't know. We might be looking for ways to get out, but we don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we could sit here all day long and say what we would do or not do. We don't know. We don't really
We
know.
don't know.
We don't really know. But
I'd
it's
love to think I would fight, but I don't know.
but I do think that he just was very matter of factly about it. And that's why I keep pointing back to the military.
I think that too. I really believe that in my heart. I believe somebody knows. Hey, there's a reason. Might be a conspiracy theorist through and through, but I believe in my heart of hearts, military, ex-military, and it all connects somehow.
Well, that's why I keep going back to him being the military. I just I think that he is a military trained person or a former member of law enforcement, and I do feel like he's probably died. And I think you brought up a good point earlier when you said it's possible that he could be all three. He could have been in the military. He could have been um, trained in law enforcement, and he could have been a drug addict. He could have been all three. Um, that's a very distinct possibility. We don't know.
We don't know, and then these people need to know.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that has gone on for a long, long time.
Yes, it's gone on for a long time.
Interestingly, a year after the Below murders in Windsor, another Below store was robbed, and this was back in your talking points email I sent you.
I see that in Hartford, North Carolina.
Yep, and the
He
gunman,
hid in the store.
uh-huh, and he tied the assistant store manager up using duct tape.
And dog leashes, the same items used
Yeah.
to tie the victims in the Windsor store
Now,
robbery.
that had to be the same guy.
He fled with an undisclosed amount of cash and no one was injured. That was the same guy.
He's already created an MO at this point.
That was this. I wonder if he did it. He had to do it. I wonder why it's not been.
You don't hear a lot about that part of it, but here's the thing:
He didn't kill anybody. That's why you don't hear about it.
well, see, some of the theories out there is this guy wasn't so much concerned about robbing them as he was killing them, like a serial killer. I don't believe he's a serial killer. I believe he was somebody who, well, by proxy, I guess he was a serial killer. But
He was here on this one, the first
but
two.
I'm saying I think he needed the money. He enjoyed the thrill of it. Uh, Mentally, psychologically, he felt he could do this crime and get away with it because he's had a history of it.
And I think the first two, he was on drugs. That's why he was acting like he was.
You think?
I think.
But you think he might have been all right in the last one?
No, he's not all right if he's robbing somebody.
I mean, not on drugs because he didn't kill anybody.
I don't know. I don't know, but I do believe he was on the first two.
I think it's the same guy.
I do believe it's the same guy.
Definitely think it's the same.
Definitely the same guy.
And
Definitely.
Obviously there's no surveillance at the that
Why
beach.
don't they put up surveillance, especially after this happened?
Well, I think that might be one of the reasons there's no more Belo stores. But
Because nobody wants to work for them.
but you can't rule out the possibility. What if he did case these places out? What if he was aware there was no?
He had to be aware.
I mean, this is the exact same crime in Hertford. The only difference is that nobody was killed. It's the exact same crime.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's I find that very interesting. I also find it very interesting to you. I'm gonna throw you a curve now because I
Uh-oh.
tell you about this part. So, I told you when talking about this that he kept referring to himself as an ex-policeman, that he had no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interestingly enough, okay, in February 2008, in Tinley Park, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago,
Yeah.
there was a shooting. 5 people were killed, a 6th was injured, and this particular person went in and to rob them, and he kept telling them that he was a policeman, an ex-policeman with nothing to lose.
Well.
Now he was described as somebody in his 20s.
Oh, that couldn't have been him.
Couldn't have been him. Time frame doesn't work. But don't you find it interesting that I just sent you the email for it so you can pull it up? But don't you find it interesting that same line gets used in another robbery, 14, 15 years later?
Well, it could be.
Now they pretty much have ruled out a connection there.
Oh, they've ruled out a connection. They don't think it could be a family member.
Probably not. It's just interesting that the same terminology was used. So I don't know.
Lane Bryant Clothing Outlet.
But see, what makes this thing so unique is you're stacking people. You stack them, and that's just crazy. I mean,
That is very crazy.
and see, my thought process on that is, how did you arrive at that thought process?
That's why that is exactly why.
I mean, that to me, you dealing with somebody cold and calculated. He's done this several times. I mean, and it's frustrating because you can't really find a whole lot to go on, and you can't really have a way of connecting the dots in other parts of the country to kind of figure out. That's why when I first read about that Lane Bryant thing, I was all over that. But when you look at the composite,
it's nothing like.
Yeah.
So, wow. That is crazy.
I mean, I don't know. It's just.
It's a little bit crazy.
But we had told you guys as we're getting ready to wrap this up here in just a little bit, we'd get you the number for the North Carolina SBI. That phone number is 1-888-624-7222. Again, the North Carolina SBI district office number is 1-888-624-7222 or 919-662-4500. Again, that's 919-662-4500. So if you guys have any information about the Below murders or Miss Audrey Leggett, please contact the proper authorities.
Please do that.
Anything you want to add before we go ahead and wrap this up? Anything we didn't touch on?
Nothing other than if you guys know anything, to please, please, please call that number.
Yeah.
Put the families, give them a little bit of closure. I mean, I know it can't bring them back, but it could make them feel better.
And maybe you're listening to this somewhere in another part of the USA, and something happened like this in your neighborhood. Maybe there's some slim chance of connection somewhere. It's just mighty funny that you have Miss Audrey Leggett a week before, and she's shot, and of course all the things there is people could say was whoever killed her, she knew who they were. She walked. That's why they walked in the store. It was so easy. I get all that. I do, but it's just mighty strange that in a mere few days, you have a robbery and a murder on this level at Below. I mean, I just think it's too much of a coincidence. And I do believe the guy, like I said, military. And you know what? Yeah, let's throw that in there. Probably a drug addict too.
Yep, I do believe that.
Yeah. So, well, guys, thank all of you for being a part today. We appreciate you following us and listening. We hope that you'll take us a gander at us on our YouTube channel.
Give us a listen on YouTube and Spotify